RAGBRAI is in full swing, celebrating its 53rd year. Recent years have seen e-bikes being used for the ride. Local 5's Brandon Wynn joins us to share how RAGBRAI is responding to this growing trend. Brandon.
Alex, that's right. RAGBRAI says they're welcoming the increase of e-bike riders, but that trend does come with some risk. For many, electronic bikes have made RAGBRAI more accessible than ever.
I think e-bikes have given, some of our riders that are getting a little bit older the opportunity to stay on the ride longer.
Matt Phippen is the ride director for RAGBRAI, and he shared how e-bikes are not something RAGBRAI is scared of, but rather adapting to.
There are limitations when your body gets older, and then there's heat and there's humidity and there's headwinds, and you love this ride. You want to be a part of it for as long as you can.
E-bikes assist with pedaling when the motor is activated, which means a rider could theoretically go much faster than the pace of traffic.
We need riders to work with each other, blend in with each other, and not use the e-bike to blow past riders going up the big hill. When everybody else is slowing down, they're flying by. They need to know how the bike handles.
Phippen also shared the importance of not weaving in and out of traffic, which does increase the risk of accidents. Local laws limiting e-bikes have been a trend throughout the state, something bike advocates like Matt Berkey with the Iowa Bicycle Coalition attributes to e-motos.
E-motos are not e-bikes at all, so an e-bike pedal assist, where an e-moto is more like a moped or motorcycle.
E-motos can have a top speed ranging from 30 to 70 miles per hour, which is why e-motos, unlike e-bikes, are not allowed on the route.
Those should be on other roads, just kind of like you don't have people driving along RAGBRAI. The only motorcycles I see on RAGBRAI are the care ambulance team.
E-bikes, unlike e-motos, have pedals and should not exceed 30 miles an hour. Berkey shared the importance of understanding the distinction if you wish to ride in the RAGBRAI route. Now, Phippen also emphasized the importance of having experience riding your e-bike before riding RAGBRAI, because like a car, each one rides different.
And it's common during RAGBRAI for riders and spectators alike to engage in some partying and drinking here and there. But there's a group at RAGBRAI this year making sure everyone can have fun and be included, no alcohol required. The Phoenix is a nationwide nonprofit that helps create fun, engaging activities in a sober environment, especially for people recovering from substance use or mental health challenges.
Doing things with like-minded people that are also in recovery have, had some of the same downfalls as myself. I've been sober for 18 years, but I would do it for free. I did it for free for a long time. I was a volunteer for 8 years, and it's just, it changes people's lives.
The organization has a sober, active living booth set up to create a comfortable yet pleasing time for those riders who want to remain sober on the route.
And one rider this year traveled from Indianapolis with one goal in mind: to spread joy with his lucky pennies. Danny Davis is a four-time RAGBRAI rider who rides an old-fashioned penny farthing bike. And during the ride, he's handing out these lucky pennies to spread a message of joy through cycling, and to also raise awareness for a cause that means a lot to him.
I ride this big goofy bike and it gets a lot of attention, and I ride to raise money to buy kids' bikes, so I've given away over 100 bicycles already. I raise awareness for autism. My granddaughter Bella has autism, and I buy special bikes for special kids.
Certainly a great reason to get out there. Now listen, if you want to get in touch with Davis about helping with his cause, you can visit luckypennyusa.com.
Today is day 2 of RAGBRAI, and for one Iowa family, RAGBRAI is about much more than cycling. The Giffen family is riding together with 4 generations on the route while keeping the memory of their beloved family member, Daniel, alive. In 2021, Daniel joined the ride while battling brain cancer, and he received a hero's welcome across Iowa. His family says the support they felt from communities along the way is something they will never forget.
All of Iowa showed up for my son battling brain cancer, and he got a hero's welcome in every town we came into. Iowa will always have my heart.
Now, Daniel passed away in June of 2025, but his family continues to honor him every mile they ride. 50 years after his first RAGBRAI ride, one Iowa native is back on the route, this time with a bigger mission in mind. Dwayne Grady is riding across the state to raise money and awareness for the Heifer International. That's a nonprofit helping farmers and families around the world fight hunger and poverty. Grady says he could have simply taken on the challenge for himself, but he wanted to use the journey to make a difference.
I could have just ridden, but I figured, it's kind of interesting that that I haven't done it for 50 years. That's probably not something that's very common. So I figured that would be the incentive to invite people to help me do a good cause at the same time.
Grady says he hopes his ride inspires others to find purpose at any age. And we are now heading into day 3 for RAGBRAI riders.
Yeah, the riders, they went from Harlan to Guthrie Center last night, and now they're getting ready to leave for Boone. Local 5's Emma Stroner is live in Guthrie Center this morning, where she's been speaking with riders. And Emma, how are they feeling ahead of that trip to Boone?
Well, one thing is they're certainly wanting to beat the heat. They got right up early this morning, getting their things loaded onto the truck behind us and heading out getting started. But Paxton is sticking around for us, so we're really grateful for his time. Paxton, how are you doing this morning?
Great, yeah, excited, a little tired.
And you are 11 years old, so do you feel like seeing all the riders here, do you feel like you're one of the younger people here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would say so?
Yeah.
Why did you decide that you were going to do RAGBRAI this year?
Well, last year we learned of it on a ride and thought, let's do it a second time.
Yeah, okay, so this is your second RAGBRAI then?
Yes.
Okay, how was last year compared to this year so far?
A little easier.
A little easier. I mean, it is shorter, so you've got that. How are you feeling heading into today going to Boone?
Excited to be in a new town. It's a little longer today.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, 61 miles, I think, right? Where are you from?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minnesota? So you came here from Minnesota. Wow. What brings you, why do you come all this way to do RAGBRAI?
For the ride? Yeah.
Because your dad's right ahead of us, so you're doing this with your dad. How does it feel to be able to do this with your family too?
It's great. I mean, to get out there, sometimes it's hot, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, especially the first couple days have been really hot. How are you staying cool?
We get out early, beat the heat. We got here at 11.
Okay.
Around.
Do you bring a lot of water? Are you making sure? How do you make sure your water stays cold?
Yeah, we
get
lots of cold water and just drink it and then pour in more cold water.
Okay, cool.
So,
and I know you've done this last year. Do you feel like you've gotten better? Because, certainly you have to bike a lot of miles. So do you feel like having that last year, you're able to come in this year, you're like, okay, I got this, even though it's a little bit shorter?
Yeah, we came in this we got this.
Yes, absolutely. And it's bright and early, but I know you guys are going to kill it. Do you have any tips for other riders, especially people who are only 11 and doing this? Do you have any advice for them?
Get out there early, beat the heat, drink lots of water.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else, or is that kind of the big 3 there?
That's the big 3. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Paxton. It was great speaking to you this morning. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And good luck today. And you're not going to be the only person we're going to talk with. We're going to talk with more riders this morning. So stick around and come back in 30 minutes. You're going to hear from more people and how they're heading going to Boone today. Live in Guthrie Center, Emma Stroner, Local 5 News.
And those cyclists are leaving Guthrie Center this morning.
Yeah, they got there last night, and then today they're going to make a few stops before reaching their day 3 destination this evening, which is Boone. Now, Local 5's Emma Stroner is live in Guthrie Center this morning, speaking with riders out there. And what are they saying about this trip so far?
Well, riders are feeling good this morning. A lot of people up early trying to beat the heat. It still feels pretty cool out here. It's not anything too crazy cold. It's still pretty warm, but a lot of people getting their bags, getting out the door. But here we have Liz and John with us. You can see they've got their matching tie-dye. They look great this morning. It's so nice to have you both. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
So tell me how many years you've been doing RAGBRAI again?
This is our 13th RAGBRAI together, his 16th overall.
Wow. Okay, that is a lot of years. So I have to ask then, how is this year tracking up to all the other years that you've done this?
Every year is so different, but also so similar. But it was really hot the first 2 days, and hopefully we got this break of heat now.
I was going to say, those first 2 days were pretty warm. How'd you stay cool?
I didn't. It was the first time in 16 tries that I had to use the sag wagon yesterday. So,
really?
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So at least you're trying. Cold water, that's mostly what you can do. But today's hopefully going to be a bit better. And I have to ask about your shirts because they're so cool. So you call it Tie-Dye Tuesday, right?
Yeah, at work I work at a summer camp in Salt Lake. Hi, Sharks! And we do tie-dye Tuesday because we made tie-dye at the beginning of the summer.
Got you. Are you doing any other like themed days throughout this week?
No, but I try to make him coordinate me every day. So.
Oh, wow.
On Sunday, we wore the corn camo from 2014.
Yeah.
That was the first year she did it. So
Oh,
we
wow.
try to wear that one the first day each year.
Okay. And I should have mentioned earlier, you guys are father and daughter, so this is a nice like activity you guys can do. How does it feel to be able to do this together every year for so many years?
It's great. I can't talk any of the other daughters into doing it, so this week Liz is definitely my favorite.
Oh my gosh, yes. And how are you feeling being able to do this with your dad?
I don't get to come home very often because it's so far in Salt Lake, but just that we get to hang out all week and take pictures and just like hang out together, it's really great because we're getting older and we're just here together.
100%. Well, I want to wish you luck on your journey to Boone today, and I want to thank you guys so much for coming on and speaking with us. It was really nice to meet you both.
Thanks for
Thank you so
having us.
much.
Thank you. All right. Well, we are talking with riders this morning. They're feeling good today. Hopefully a little bit cooler than it's been the past couple days, so shouldn't have too many problems getting over to Boone. In Guthrie Center, Emma Stroner, Local 5 News.
Riders on RAGBRAI are out in full force in central Iowa. Today's route spanned 60 miles, beginning in Guthrie Center and ending in Boone. Local 5's JD Snover joins us live from the overnight town. And JD, it looks like a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, Stephanie, it's been a ton of fun. The miles are certainly impressive, but ask most riders and they'll actually tell you it's the people that keep them coming back. Following today's route from Perry to Boone, I got to see that firsthand and actually met people from all over the country, from Fresno, California to the coast of New Jersey, so that was pretty cool. But in Perry, that relationship actually goes both ways, and as the town looks for the chance to return the favor.
Riding into Perry, visitors had no shortage of ways to spend their stop, and Larry Vodnik of the local historical society was hoping to catch their attention.
You have to put that Iowa in there because there are other Perry historical societies.
His mission goes beyond preserving local history.
We got permission from RAGBRAI to host a RAGBRAI museum for the state of Iowa.
Perry is a natural fit, he says.
They wanted it in a smaller community. They didn't want to go to Des Moines
because RAGBRAI is all about showcasing every corner of Iowa. And with thousands of visitors passing through town, the Historical Society saw a chance to build support for its newest project.
Gordon, we're talking about the quilts now.
By raffling off themed quilts.
My wife made these 3 quilts.
Made by an award-winning artist.
She got Best of Show at the State Fair 3 or 4 years ago, and her life revolves around quilting.
In hopes that preserving old memories will create some new ones.
We're happy to see everybody here in town.
Of course, the riders couldn't stay in town forever. They packed up and headed north to Ogden, where the next generation was already waiting to welcome them. A reminder that while the route changes every year, the people are what keep riders coming back.
So the party already well underway here in Boone. Tonight, as riders settle into their overnight town where they're going to camp, rock cover band Hairball will be the headliner here on South Story Street tonight, so that's always fun. And tomorrow they'll head east towards Marshalltown with a big stop in Nevada. Stephanie?
Sounds awesome. JD, thank you so much. Well, hey, here's a look at the RAGBRAI route so far. And as mentioned, riders will spend the night in Boone. Tomorrow, they take the 68-mile trip to Marshalltown, the next overnight city on RAGBRAI. That is followed by Independence on Thursday. Cyclists will be in Dyersville on Friday. And on Saturday, they'll cap off RAGBRAI by dipping their tires in the Mississippi River in Dubuque. RAGBRAI is in full swing right now. Today, bikers started in Boone. They made their way to Gilbert, then Nevada. Then they ended the night in Marshalltown. And the party is well underway. That's where we find Local 5's JD Snover. And JD, having fun out there?
Yeah, Stephanie, I'm personally having a blast. It's been such a great day. You can see riders starting to trickle into Marshalltown. We've got a street performer back there getting up on a unicycle. It looks like got a big crowd drawn for that. So all in all, a great time. But I actually spent most of my day in Nevada, just west of here. But should I call it Nevada just for this one day?
After rolling in on the historic Jefferson Highway, RAGBRAI riders got a taste of Las Vegas, right here in central Iowa.
They really put a lot of heart into it, yeah.
Some went all in.
We renewed our vows on RAGBRAI.
Yeah. Like Vic May and Mackenzie Brown of California, who are celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary.
It actually did get a little teary-eyed. It was quite special. Yeah.
For some local residents, the day carried a little more weight.
It had a small little fire, very unexpected, and we're just trying to rebuild and get back to where we were.
Reagan Sayers' family owns the beloved Starbucks Drive-In, which needs rebuilt.
We have a great community in Nevada, and we thought that, getting a booth together, it would help support and help bring in the donations that we need.
For her, the stop represented a step forward, but eventually, riders had to mount up again and headed for Colo, where they were met.
I got my niece and some neighbor friends, and the girls are inside napping.
With cold lemonade and tasty treats.
I figured it'd also be a good way of showing math skills with the money, and good way of entrepreneurship. So,
and some excellent customer service. So I know we've got a little bit more RAGBRAI coverage coming up for you, but I just want to make one note about tomorrow's ride. It actually starts with a breakfast stop in the Marshall County town of Green Mountain, which hosts just about 70 people day to day. That's how many people live there. And so when you bring thousands and thousands of riders through, that'll certainly be something. But if you ask me and Stephanie, I know you probably think the same here, but what's more quintessential Iowa or RAGBRAI than that?
Nothing at all, JD. Love to see our Iowa towns shine on this ride. Thank you so much. Well, part of the celebrations in Marshalltown included a very special event. Black Hawk helicopters landed in Valor Field at the Iowa Veterans Home. There was also a tribute to Sergeant Nate Howard, who was killed in Syria last December. Howard was from Marshalltown. The Veteran Flagpole Initiative, accompanied by Sergeant Howard's unit, transferred a flag from Boone to Marshalltown on the RAGBRAI route. The flag will be placed at his parents' house in his honor.
And the end of the journey is almost here for RAGBRAI riders. After yesterday being the longest stretch of this year's route, today is much easier. Riders will leave Independence and travel around 42 miles, ending their day over in Dyersville. And for one rider, yesterday as part of his RAGBRAI journey was extra special. Mike Floucher has called Independence home for more than 65 years. He started his ride in Rhinebeck yesterday morning and pedaled 48 miles back home, joining cyclists rolling into town. Floucher says having the ride come through Independence is something the whole community can celebrate.
There's a big economic impact for our local vendors and the people. It's just a good deal.
This morning, Floucher and the rest of the cyclists will leave Independence, making stops in Winthrop, Manchester, Earlville, and eventually Dyersville.
Well, today was the final push for thousands of cyclists as they arrived in Dubuque for the final day of this year's RAGBRAI. A quick dip in the Mississippi marks the end for thousands of cyclists in the 53rd annual RAGBRAI. It's been 16 years since riders have been in Iowa's oldest city, and people traveled from across the country to see riders finish the trip. And along the way, riders made several stops at local restaurants, bars, and businesses. Local 5's Emma Schroner shares how RAGBRAI made a big impact on those owners.
RAGBRAI might be over, but the effects will last much longer. Pop-ups and small businesses opened their arms to thousands of cyclists, and those cyclists sent that love right back. In the tiny town of Panora sits the Tiki Bar.
We just decided we wanted to kind of open up our home to everyone.
Owned by Shane and Jennifer Jensen, the bar doesn't even operate most of the time. The two saved it from being torn down after it got new ownership on Lake Panorama. Now, the family just uses it for hosting close friends. But when they heard RAGBRAI riders would be passing through Panora, they had an idea.
I had no intentions of really opening up for anything. And then 6 months later, RAGBRAI announces that they're coming right by. So I figured I better kind of finish everything and get it done.
The Jensens got a liquor license, spent $10,000, and prepared for dozens to come to their backyard. While they call it overwhelming, they also call it a time they won't forget.
I definitely have to say it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had.
After cyclists visited the Tiki Bar, they headed to Boone for day 4, then Marshalltown on day 5. Many of those riders came here Smokin' G's Barbecue.
Well, it was pretty exciting.
As temperatures cooled down on Thursday, owner Kimberly Gradup says bikers brought their appetites.
We knew with the good weather that people were going to eat. People were going to come in, be hungry, be ready to enjoy a meal.
But they also brought stories and welcomed Marshalltown just as much as the town welcomed them.
I think that people felt very welcome here in Marshalltown, and we had a lot of great feedback from the people that stopped in.
So no matter where RAGBRAI riders were along the 2026 route,
it was a lot of fun to see everybody roll into town.
They had great hosts, and those hosts had great company. Emma Stroner, Local 5 News.